Good morning, students. In today's lecture, we will be discussing about the combustion phenomena that takes place in an IC engine. This is in continuation to the first chapter, that is combustion of fuel. So this is a part of the first chapter. So in this unit, we will discuss about how the combustion and what are the various phases that are there when the combustion takes place in a uh, spark ignition or petrol engine or a diesel engine, and what are the various terminologies and phenomena associated with the combustion that takes place in an IC engine. Before starting, we will refresh ourselves with the basic terminology or the nomenclature that is associated with an IC engine. So here we have a cut section of an IC engine. So we start from the top. So there in any IC engine, there are two basic parts. One is your combustion chamber, that is a cylinder that is hollow from inside, and inside that hollow space there is a piston that moves up and down. Okay, so that moves between the two dead centers. That is the top dead center, it is called the TDC, and the bottom dead center, BDC. The top dead center is the topmost position up till which this piston head can go. Okay, and BDC, or the bottom dead center, is the bottommost position up till which this piston head can reach. So above this volume that is swept by the piston between the top dead center and the bottom dead center is known as the stroke volume, and the volume above the top dead center and the cylinder head is known as the clearance volume. In the head of the cylinder, we have two valves. There is your inlet valve and the exhaust valve, and at the middle of the cylinder we have a spark plug, if it is a petrol engine or a SI engine, spark ignition engine, or we have a fuel injector if we have a compression ignition or diesel engine. Okay, so spark plug is installed in your petrol engine, and fuel injector is installed in your diesel engines. Okay, now the internal diameter of the cylinder is known as the bore. It is denoted by D. Okay, and the distance between the top dead center and the bottom dead center is known as the stroke length, and it is denoted by capital L. Okay, so the stroke volume can be calculated from the formula. If we have the bore D, so the formula will be pi d square by 4. That will be the area of the cross section multiplied by the stroke length L. So pi d square by 4 into L will give me the stroke volume. Okay. Now the piston is connected to the crankshaft with the help of a connecting rod. This is my connecting rod. The small end of the connecting rod is connected with the help of the piston pin or the gudgeon pin to the piston, and the big end of the connecting rod is connecting to the crank of the crankshaft with the help of crank pin. Now, when the piston moves, it reciprocates up and down from top dead center to bottom dead center, bottom dead center, top dead center. So this reciprocatory motion is converted into rotary motion at the crankshaft with the help of this connecting rod. So when the piston is at the top dead center, so at that position, this connecting rod will be at the topmost position here. Okay. Now, as the piston starts to move downwards, so here we can see a circle. Okay, so at the top dead center, when the piston is at top dead center, at that position, the crank is in the straight position, connecting rod is in the straight position. Okay, and the piston is at the top dead center. So here the angle will be 0 degree. Now, as the piston starts to move in the downward direction, so the crank starts to move in a circular motion. So the theta starts to increase, and as the piston reaches the bottom dead center, the crank reaches the crank sweeps an angle of 180 degrees. Okay. So at that position, again, the connecting rod is straight and the crank is in line with the connecting rod. Now, as the piston starts to move upwards, the angle again starts to increase from 180 degree, it reaches to 70 degree, and then it completes, when it completes 360 degree. Okay. So here again, the piston reaches the top dead center. So this means one complete motion of the piston from the top dead center to bottom dead center. That is, when a piston sweeps one stroke length, the crank rotates 180 degree. So 180 degree rotation of the crank is equivalent to the stroke length or the distance from top dead center to bottom dead center swept by the piston. So these are the basic terminologies that are associated with IC engine. Next, if you see here, so we will see the working of a 4-stroke engine. So here we have a 4-stroke engine. We have the inlet valve, we have the exhaust valve. These valves are operated with the help of cams that are these are the cams that are installed on top of these valves. So there are 2 cams here. Okay, and then there is this piston here. This piston is connecting with the help of this connecting rod to the crankshaft. This is your cylinder in which the piston reciprocates up and down. And at the bottom, we have the crankcase. In the crankcase, this part, you can see the semicircular part. This is my crank that rotates. And this bottom part is filled with your engine oil, or that is used to lubricate the various parts of the engine. Okay. So if we see the working, here the animation starts. So here you can see that the first stroke is taking place. Okay. So here we will see the inlet air comes in blue, spark takes place, combustion takes place, and then the exhaust goes out. Okay, and you can see that the opening and closing of the valves is taking place. So during your inlet stroke, the inlet valve opens and the blue, that is your air fill mixture, comes in. Compression takes place, spark ignites, combustion takes place, and the brown, that is your exhaust gases, they go out in the 4th stroke. So this is the working of a 4-stroke engine. So in one cycle, you have 4 strokes here. So you have inlet stroke, you have compression stroke, you have the power or expansion stroke, and the last is your exhaust stroke. So this means the piston moves 4 times. So one, it moves from top dead center to bottom dead center, but then bottom dead center to top dead center, top dead center to bottom dead center, and bottom dead center to top dead center. So this completes one complete cycle for a 4-stroke engine. So that is why, because the piston moves 4 strokes during one cycle, hence the name is 4-stroke engine. Next, again, we have this 3-dimensional cut-off section of the crankshaft. Okay, so this is my crankshaft. In this crankshaft, you can see that these are your crank part is there, where your connecting rod is connected to the crankshaft. So here we have a this is the crankshaft for a 4-stroke 4-cylinder engine. So because we have 4 pistons here, so it is a 4-cylinder. And all these 4 pistons, they are connected with the help of a connecting rod to the cranks at 4 different places. Okay. Now here you can see there are holes inside the whole crankshaft. These holes are provided for the lubrication purposes, because there is always motion taking place. So we need to lubricate continuously so that wear does not take place. And then on the right hand side, you can see there is a flywheel. Now this flywheel is provided because flywheel, what it does is it absorbs energy during the power stroke, and it gives out energy during the 3 idle strokes. So there are 3 idle strokes in a 4-stroke cycle. That is your suction, compression and the exhaust. So energy is required for the pistons to move up and down during these idle strokes, where the energy is not being developed. So this energy comes from the flywheel. So this is another diagram that shows you the various parts of a crankshaft and how the pistons are connected to the crankshaft with the help of connecting rods. Now this is the diagram that shows you the mechanism of the cam. So here we have a overhead cam mechanism. Okay, so this cam this is your camshaft. With the help of the camshaft, there are cams on top of this camshaft. Now these cams are timed or designed to open and close the valves at the required time when the requirement is there to open the inlet valve so that the airfill mixture comes in. So the cam comes in front of this valve and it pushes the valve downwards and the valve opens. Similarly, the exhaust valve is opened and closed with the help of these cams that are installed on the camshaft. And these cams shafts, they are rotated with the help of these chains, and they get their power from the your crankshaft. So this is your overhead cam mechanism, and in this one you have the cam that is on the side. So this is your puppet cam mechanism, in which you have these puppets, and then this is your push rod is there. Your push rod, it pushes this rocker arm when it is pushed on top upwards, this rocker arm. On the other hand, with the help of this fulcrum, the rocker arm goes downwards on the other hand. So this opens and closes your ball. Again, this camshaft gets its power from the crankshaft only. So here the camshaft is not installed directly on top of your valves. It is on the side. Okay. So these are two types of mechanisms that are available for opening and closing of the inlet and exhaust valves. Okay, in this slide, we can see that the working of here you have the pressure versus your volume diagram. PV diagram is here. Okay. Now this PV diagram is for this diagram is for a 4-stroke petrol engine. So here at the bottom you can see that we have a air standard cycle or auto cycle is there. Petrol engines they work on auto cycle. Okay, so bottom is your where we are describing the auto cycle, the working of auto cycle. So here the air is inside the combustion chamber, and when the piston moves upwards, the air gets compressed. Okay, and then we provide heat to the air. That heat from outside, it makes the air to expand. Okay, so this pushes the piston in the downward direction. Okay, when the piston goes downward towards the bottom dead center, okay, the air that expands, it loses its heat because it becomes colder. It loses its heat to the environment, and the heat goes out. So here the working, you can see that this point here 0, this is 0 point. So 0 to 1 is your suction stroke where the air comes in, and then from this 1 to 2 is your isentropic compression. 2 to 3 is where heat is supplied to in. 3 to 4 is isentropic expansion, and 4 to 1 is your heat rejected to the environment. So here you can see that there are sharp corners. At point 1, it is a sharp corner. At point 2, it is a sharp corner. So this means the transition from the isentropic process and then to the constant volume process. 2 to 3 is your constant volume process. 1 to 2 is your isentropic process. Now the transition from one process to another process is abrupt. Okay, ekdam se it is happening very fast. Okay, and then again at point 3 there is a sharp corner. So this means the transition from your isochoric process again to isentropic process is sharp. It happens instantly. Again, your transition at point 4 from isentropic process to this constant volume heat rejection process, that is 4 to 1. It is again, it is a sharp corner. Okay. So this means the first thing is, in the ideal process, it is assumed that the transition takes place instantaneously, that is from one process to another process. So this transformation is instantaneous. Okay. Now, in the actual process, if you see here, the actual process, the top diagram, it shows you the actual four-stroke engine working. Okay. In this, when the piston moves from top dead center to bottom dead center, the inlet valve opens and the air fuel mixture comes in. In the second is after the compression stroke, the heat is so first is your compression stroke, where the piston moves from bottom dead center towards the top dead center, and the compression of air fuel mixture takes place. So at the end of the compression stroke, this spark is ignited, and this spark it burns the fuel, and the combustion takes place, and it pushes the piston in the downward direction. So piston moves from top dead center to the bottom dead center. This is your power stroke. After that, what happens is your piston moves from bottom dead center towards the top dead center, and it pushes or expels the burnt gases or the exhaust gases through this exhaust valve, where this exhaust valve is open. So the gases, they go out from this exhaust valve. After that, when the piston moves from top dead center towards the bottom dead center, the inlet valve opens and the fresh air fuel mixture comes in. So these are the four strokes. Okay. Now here in the actual working, you can see that there are no sharp corners. All the corners now they are rounded off. Okay. So this means this transition from one process to other process, it does not take place instantaneously, but the transition is gradual. It takes time. Okay, so this is my compression stroke. If you see the compression stroke, this is isentropic compression, and the transition here, it is not abrupt. It takes some time for this uh, isentropic compression to convert into constant volume heat addition process. Okay, so here 2 to 1 process. This is, the corners are not sharp now, these are gradual. So this change from one process to another process is gradual, and it takes place over certain time duration. So that is why all the corners, they are rounded off. So this is the first modification that is there from the ideal cycle from the actual cycle. And secondly, here you can see that this line here. Okay, so here what we assume is that in the ideal cycle, that the suction and exhaust, they take place at atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that is why you have both the arrows on the same line. So the suction takes place from 0 to 1 at atmospheric pressure, and the exhaust takes place at atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that is why there is single line here. But in actual practice, I cannot move air from one say container to the other container without there being a pressure difference between the two containers. Okay. So though I have say two containers, okay, so both containers, they have air. Okay. So if I want to move air from one container to the other container, there should be certain pressure difference. Okay, so the air will move from higher pressure container towards the lower pressure container. Okay, so this means for the fresh air fuel mixture to come inside the combustion chamber during the intake stroke, the pressure or the atmospheric pressure should be greater than the pressure inside the combustion chamber. Okay. So this means there should be some vacuum inside the combustion chamber. Only then the atmospheric air or the air fuel mixture will come inside the combustion chamber. Now, if there is no pressure difference, there won't be any flow of air inside. So that is why here during the intake stroke, this diagram, if you see the PV diagram, actual PV diagram, so the intake stroke, this is your atmospheric pressure line. So intake stroke takes place some pressure below the atmospheric pressure line. So this means there is some vacuum that is created inside the combustion chamber during the intake stroke. So the pressure inside the combustion chamber becomes less, atmospheric pressure is more, so the airflow starts to take place from outside towards the inside of the combustion chamber. And similarly, for the exhaust stroke, the pressure inside the cylinder should be greater than the atmospheric pressure. Now, if the pressure inside the combustion chamber is greater than the atmospheric pressure, only then the air from inside the combustion chamber will move or go outside. Okay. Now, if the pressure is same, the airflow will not take place. So, the airflow to take place from inside the combustion chamber towards the atmosphere, so we require higher pressure. So that is why here the line of the exhaust line, it is above the atmospheric pressure line. Okay. So these are the basic differences that are there between your ideal 4-stroke petrol engine cycle PV diagram and the actual PV diagram of a 4-stroke petrol engine. Now here are the differences. Now in the theoretical PV diagram, what we assume first is suction and exhaust, they both take place at atmospheric pressure. Suction and exhaust take place through 180-degree rotation of the crank. So this means that when the valve it reaches the top dead center during the start of the intake stroke, the valve opens instantaneously. And similarly, when the piston it reaches the bottom dead center at the end of the uh, intake stroke, the valve closes instantaneously. And similarly, during your exhaust stroke, when the power stroke ends and the piston reaches your bottom dead center, the exhaust valve opens instantaneously. And when the piston reaches the top dead center at the end of the exhaust stroke, the again the exhaust valve it closes instantaneously and the inlet valve opens instantaneously. So this is what we assume during theoretical PV diagram. Next, third point is compression and expansion also take place through 180-degree rotation of the crank is there. Okay, so this is another assumption that we say that the expansion and compression strokes they only take place through 180-degree rotation. Okay, so when the piston it moves from bottom dead center to top dead center, the compression takes place through 180-degree rotation of the crank. Okay. Fourth assumption that we assume is that compression and expansion they are isentropic in nature. Okay. That is, isentropic means no heat loss takes place during the compression and expansion process. Fifth assumption that we assume is the combustion takes place instantaneously at constant volume at the end of the compression stroke. Okay. So according to the ideal or the theoretical PV diagram, when the compression stroke it ends, we ignite the spark, and when the spark is ignited, the combustion takes place instantaneously. Okay. Now that is the assumption for theoretical cycle. Then number 6 is pressure suddenly falls to atmospheric pressure at the end of the expansion stroke. Now at the end of the expansion stroke, that is this 4.4, the from 4 to 1, the pressure drops instantaneously and the heat is rejected. So this is another assumption for your theoretical. But what happens in your actual PV diagram? The suction in the cylinder is possible only if the pressure inside is below the atmospheric pressure. So here what in the theoretical cycle we assume that suction and exhaust they both take place at atmospheric pressure. But in actual it is not possible. There has to be some pressure difference. So we need to have less pressure inside the cylinder, that is vacuum pressure should be there. Only then the air from outside will enter the cylinder. Second, the burnt gases can be pushed out from the cylinder into the atmosphere only if the pressure. Now, the air from inside the cylinder will always move outside into the atmosphere only if the pressure inside is greater. Okay. So in actual, we need to have some pressure difference for the flow of fluid. Third point is, in actual cycle, the compression and expansion do not follow isentropic law, as there will be heat exchange during these processes. Now, in the actual cycle, when the expansion and compression is taking place, we cannot have an isentropic process during that process, because there will always be some heat leakage from the walls of the cylinder into the atmosphere. So that is why we cannot have isentropic process. Now, sudden pressure rise is not possible after the ignition, as combustion takes place takes some time for completion. Now, sudden pressure rise cannot be achieved because we know that there is some time that is required for the fuel to reach its combustion temperature. So the fuel does not ignite instantaneously. First, it will reach its ignition temperature. Only then the combustion will start. Now, the combustion of the fuel is not instantaneous. It happens in, so there is one nucleus that is created for combustion for one atom of the fuel, and then that heat is transferred to the other fuel. The second nucleus takes place. Okay, and then in layers, the combustion takes place. So this combustion is not instantaneous, but it happens over a time period. Okay. And similarly, sudden pressure release after the opening of exhaust valve is not possible. So here from 4 to 1, the pressure release is shown as instantaneous. So pressure, it reduces instantaneously. Now this is not possible. So it takes some time, or the crank rotation, for the pressure to reduce from the cylinder pressure to the atmospheric pressure during the exhaust flow. So this is the difference between your theoretical and actual PV diagram. And similarly, we have the actual and PV diagram for the diesel cycle. So again, in the your ideal cycle, that is on the left, this is your diesel cycle. So here 1 to 2 is your say intake stroke, and 2 to 1 is your exhaust stroke. So here again, we assume that the intake and the exhaust stroke, they take place at atmospheric pressure. And then again, we have isentropic compression, isobaric heat addition, isentropic expansion, and isochoric heat rejection is there. And again, we have sharp corners where one process is transiting into the other process. But in the actual diagram, you can see that from 1 to 2, the suction stroke, the curve is below the atmospheric line, so there is vacuum inside. And from 2 to 1, the exhaust stroke, we have pressure greater than the atmospheric pressure. So that is why we have a curve that is above the atmospheric pressure line, that is this dotted line here. And then again, you can see that all the sharp corners, they have been replaced by curves, smooth curves. So the transition is taking place at certain under certain time duration, or at certain crank rotation of the cycle. So here you can see the difference is there between your ideal and the actual cycle of the compression. Okay, the next topic is the valve timing diagram. Now, a valve timing diagram is a diagram that depicts the various phases of one cycle of a 4-stroke engine or a 2-stroke engine. Here we have the valve timing diagram that is developed from the PV diagram of a 4-stroke petrol engine or spark ignition engine. Here we have the diagram of an ideal cycle or theoretical cycle. Okay, so here during here we have 2 points here, that is the start point. So where the this valve timing diagram starts. So at this point here, what happens is the suction is the first stroke. So in during suction stroke, what happens is the inlet valve opens and the fresh air fuel mixture starts to come inside the combustion chamber. Okay. So here at this point, it is written as IVO. So IVO stands for inlet valve opens. Okay, now the inlet valve opens at the top dead center. So this is my on top, this is my top dead center, and this is my bottom dead center. Here it is written as BDC. So this is my bottom dead center. From the center, everything in the upward direction, this is towards the top dead center, and from the center, everything bottom is towards the bottom dead center. So what is happening at the bottom dead center and what is happening at the top dead center? So where the cycle starts, four-stroke petrol engine. So it starts at the top dead center. Now at the top dead center, the inlet valve opens, and then the crank it starts to move in the downward direction. That is, we are moving from the top dead center towards the bottom dead center. And in this, what is happening is piston is moving in the downward direction from the top dead center towards bottom dead center. And during this process, the air fuel mixture, fresh air fuel mixture comes inside the combustion chamber. And as the crank, it rotates 180-degree, the piston reaches the bottom dead center. Now at the bottom dead center, what happens? The suction stroke is complete. So here we have a dot, it says IVC. IVC stands for inlet valve closes. So at bottom dead center, the inlet valve, it closes. After that, when the piston starts to move from the bottom dead center towards the top dead center, both the valves are closed. And what happens is the air fuel mixture that is inside, it starts to compress. So the second stroke is your compression stroke. So now the air fuel mixture is getting compressed. Now as the piston reaches the top dead center, now at the top dead center, the spark is ignited. So hence we have ignition here. So at the top dead center, both the valves are closed and the spark is ignited and the combustion takes place. This combustion pushes the piston in the downward direction and we get the expansion or the power stroke. So now the piston is pushed downwards from the top of dead center towards the bottom dead center. So this is my power stroke or the expansion stroke. Now as the piston reaches the bottom dead center, so here another point dot is there, it says EVO. EVO stands for exhaust valve opens. So the exhaust valve opens at this point, and as the piston starts to move from bottom dead center towards the top dead center, the exhaust gases are pushed outside from the exhaust valve. So we get the exhaust stroke. And as the piston reaches the top dead center, so here we have another dot, it says EVC, means exhaust valve closes. So this is my end of the cycle. Again, I start from the next cycle, I go on to this point, start point, where the inlet valve opens. So exhaust valve closes, inlet valve opens, suction, compression. So suction takes place, inlet valve closes, compression takes place, ignition takes place, then power stroke takes place. And as I move downwards, so exhaust valve opens and exhaust stroke takes place. And at the end, EVC is your exhaust valve closes. So in this diagram, you can see that all the information about the opening and closing of valves and the ignition, it is there. Okay. So this is your valve timing diagram for a theoretical four-stroke petrol engine. Okay. So in theoretical cycle, we assume that the opening and closing of the valves is at the dead centers, and that opening and closing is instantaneous. Means as the piston reaches the top dead center, inlet valve opens, okay, completely, and as it reaches the bottom dead center, at the end of the suction stroke, the valve closes instantly. Okay. Similarly, exhaust valve opens instantly, exhaust valve closes instantly. Okay. But if we look at the actual working, okay, now in actual working, the valves, they open and close with the help of cams. So we have cams that opens and closes the valves. Now, and the opening and closing of valves is not instantaneous. it takes some time for the valve to open completely, and it takes time for the valve to close completely. So this means the opening and closing of the valves is not instantaneous. Now, if I start to open the valve at the top dead center and in actual, say, working, so the full valve will be open, say, slightly at this point here. So this means proper air or air fuel mixture uh, will not come inside the combustion chamber. Less air fuel mixture will be there, so less power will be generated. So loss of energy will be there. So for actual valve timing diagram, there should be some, this point should be shifted somewhere. It should not be at the top dead center. Okay. So in actual condition, valves, they open and close by a cam mechanism, and opening and closing of valves is spread over a certain crank angle. So it takes time for complete opening and closing of valves. So this means in actual uh, working conditions, this valve timing diagram cannot be used. So we have to modify this valve timing diagram according to the actual working conditions. So this is my actual valve timing diagram for a petrol engine, 4-stroke petrol engine, or a spark ignition. So here you can see that the opening and closing of valves at the bottom, you can see the animation. It is gradual and it is not instantaneous. Okay. So here what happens is, to accommodate this gradual opening and closing of the valve, so this inlet valve open, this point is shifted towards left. So before the piston reaches the top dead center, 20 degrees before that, this inlet valve starts to open, and by the time the piston reaches top dead center, the inlet valve is open completely. So this means if the inlet valve is open completely, maximum air fuel mixture can come inside. Okay. And then the closing, that is IVC, that was at top dead center, it was at BDC or the bottom dead center in your ideal cycle, it is shifted towards the left. So it is closing, so inlet valve is closing 35 degrees after the bottom dead center. So here you can see that the inlet valve and the exhaust valve, they are not opening at the dead centers, but inlet valve is opening before 20 degrees before the top dead center, and inlet valve is closing 35 degrees after the bottom dead center. So this means in your ideal cycle, the suction stroke was for 180 degree motion of the crankshaft or the crank, but in actual it is, say, 180 plus 20 is 200, 200 plus 35 is 235. So the inlet valve is open for 235 degree of the crank rotation. So this means by doing this, what happens is we have given enough time so that maximum air fuel mixture can accommodate inside the combustion chamber during the suction stroke. Okay. Now similarly, for the ignition, now this point is not at the top dead center. It is 35 degrees before the top dead center, because there is some time lag or time it takes between the spark ignition and the actual combustion start. Okay. So this time is accommodated by providing the ignition 35 degrees before the top dead center. So by the time here, when the spark is ignited, the process of combustion starts. The first nucleus develops, and then the combustion is spread gradually throughout the combustion chamber, through the different layers of fuel that are there. So that is why to accommodate that ignition lag, that is known as the ignition lag. That is the time between the ignition of the spark, when the spark is ignited, and the actual combustion taking place. Now that time difference is known as ignition lag. So to overcome that ignition lag, the ignition or the spark is ignited 35 degrees before the top dead center, during the compression stroke. And then when the piston moves in the downward direction during the power or the expansion stroke, so here you can see that the exhaust valve opens 35 degrees before the bottom dead center. Okay. So again, this is to accommodate the gradual opening of the valve. And then the exhaust stroke starts, the exhaust gases start to move outwards, and then the exhaust valve is closed 10 degrees after the top dead center. So this angle of 225 degrees. So exhaust valve is open for 225 degree of the crank. In ideal cycle, it is only open for 180 degree, but in the actual cycle, it is open for 220 degree of the crank. So this is so that all the exhaust gases, they escape the combustion chamber. So this is your actual valve timing diagram for 4-stroke petrol engine.